mentally ready for all of what I was about to do on stage when suddenly I felt a chest pain. And so I called in Heather and my mom and told them that I needed.
Millions of people trusted him with their most broken moments. They sat across from him clutching photographs of people they had lost, hoping for something, anything, that would make the silence feel less permanent. And Tyler Henry delivered. Again and again, in living rooms and theaters and television studios, he gave grieving people something they could not find anywhere else. But while the world was watching him heal strangers, nobody was watching what was happening to him. His body has been quietly fighting him for years. The emergencies have been piling up. And the latest update has shaken the people closest to him in a way that nothing before it quite managed to do. This is not a story about fame or television. This is a story about a young man whose body keeps trying to stop him, and who keeps getting back up anyway. Until now, the question was always when he would recover. Now people are asking something far more frightening. What will be left of him when he does? Tyler Henry was 10 years old the first time death found him. He had not been dreaming. There was no sound that pulled him out of sleep, no nightmare that shook him awake. One moment he was unconscious, and the next he was sitting upright in the dark with a pressure on his chest that felt deliberate, like something or someone had placed a hand directly over his heart and was pushing down with purpose. And in that pressure, there was a message. His grandmother was dying. He did not wonder about it or question it. He simply knew, the way you know your own name, the way you know when you are standing in a room that something has gone terribly wrong. He described it later not as a prediction but as a memory, as though his mind had already processed her death before it had technically happened. Before she had taken her last breath, some part of him had already been through it. He ran to find his mother. He tried to put the feeling into words and failed completely. The sentences looped back on themselves, falling apart before they could carry any meaning. And then the phone rang. His father was calling. Tyler's grandmother had just died. His mother turned to look at her son, who had just described something that nobody else on earth yet knew. Tyler could not look back at her. He ran to his room, locked the door, and came apart entirely. He hit the walls. He sobbed until his mother could hear it through the door, standing in the hallway not knowing what to say because nothing in the world had prepared her for this moment. This was not the beginning of a gift. This was the beginning of a wound that would never fully close. After that night, it did not stop. It got worse. He began sensing death around people everywhere he went. Strangers in grocery stores, classmates at school, neighbors he had never spoken to. His family did not know how to help him. Tyler did not know how to stop it. He had no choice but to keep living inside something that most adults would not have been able to carry. Before his body ever started failing him, his mind was being destroyed from the outside. Middle school became a kind of daily ambush. A group of boys would close the distance behind him in the hallway, and the shouting would begin. "Monster! Run!" They chased him into bathrooms and cornered him and demanded that he tell them when they were going to die, laughing while they said it, not understanding or not caring what they were asking him to do. One afternoon the ringleader cornered him with his fist already raised. He pulled Tyler forward by the shirt until their faces were inches apart and screamed at him. In that moment, with nowhere left to go, something came through. Tyler saw a woman, the ringleader's aunt. He saw the car accident. He saw the father crying the night before. He described it all out loud, specifically, accurately, in a bathroom where seconds ago a fist had been forming. The ringleader's hand stopped in the air. His face went pale and quiet. He let go, stepped back, and walked out without a word. The others followed. Tyler stood alone against the tile with his heart slamming in his chest, understanding something important and awful. He had just used the most painful thing about himself as a survival tool. That was what his ability had been reduced to. A way to get through a Tuesday. High school brought something uglier. The bullying had been cruel, but it came from children. What he encountered next came from adults. Word had spread through his conservative Christian community about what he could do. One afternoon he rounded a corner and heard voices. A group from his own church, speaking in low, deliberate tones. They were talking about him. One of them said they needed to find a way to bundle that devil. Others agreed. He stood there and listened to grown people from his own community discuss how to physically overpower a teenager because of something he had been born with and never asked for. The shame of that moment was something he carried for years without speaking it aloud. And then there was Terry, Tyler's closest friend, his first love, the one person who could make the noise inside his head go quiet. Terry had beaten brain cancer as a child and come through it. But during their teenage years, Tyler began feeling something he desperately did not want to feel. The cancer had come back. And this time Tyler sensed, with a certainty he could not argue himself out of, that Terry was not going to survive it. He sat with that knowledge for months. He laughed with Terry, showed up for him, acted like everything was fine while a countdown ran silently inside his own chest. He typed messages and deleted them. One afternoon he decided he was finally going to say it face to face. He looked at Terry and the words disappeared completely. He pulled him into a hug instead, held on a beat too long, and the only thing that came out was 2 words. "I'm sorry." Terry pulled back, smiled at him with that easy grin, and called him a funny kid. He had no idea what he was being apologized to for. Terry died of brain cancer exactly as Tyler had sensed he would. In the final weeks, when Terry needed people close, Tyler pulled away. He could not sit in that room and watch the ending he had already seen from a distance. He was not there when Terry died. He has called it publicly one of the deepest regrets of his life. After Terry died, Tyler did something that surprised everyone who knew what he had survived. Instead of running from his ability, he ran toward it. He began offering readings to classmates and teachers at Sierra Pacific High School. He found a local spiritual shop called the Cosmic Corral and started doing grief work there, eventually meeting a mentor named Tom McGuire who gave him something he had never had before, a name for what he was: clairvoyant medium. For the first time since he was 10 years old, what lived inside his head had a shape he could work with. He graduated at 16 after switching to homeschooling, then enrolled at West Hills College to study hospice nursing. He wanted to be present with people who were dying. He genuinely believed he could help them through it. While he studied, his name was quietly moving through Hollywood circles. A publicist named Ron Scott connected him to the right rooms. A session with actress Sarah Paulson led to an invitation to an industry party in Los Angeles. There he met Michael Corbett, a daytime Emmy-winning actor who agreed to a private reading out of nothing more than curiosity. He walked out a different man. Tyler had described 2 people Corbett knew personally, both dead by suicide, with what Corbett later called horrifying specificity. Corbett had one thought when it was over. He was going to build a television show around this kid. Then Tyler's body made its first move. Headaches arrived and would not leave. One morning he told his mother he thought his brain was swelling. He was rushed to the hospital where scans confirmed what he had somehow already known. His brain was swelling in its own fluids, blocked by an arachnoid cyst he had been carrying since birth, silently, without ever knowing it was there. He went straight into surgery. They drained the fluid and removed the obstruction. Lying in recovery, his first fear was not whether he would live. It was whether his ability had survived the procedure. Slowly, the impressions returned. The visions came back. He got up and kept going, the way he always had. In 2015, he appeared on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, connecting the family to their late father Robert Kardashian Sr. in a moment that landed in front of millions. In 2016, E! Entertainment Television gave 20-year-old Tyler Henry his own show. Hollywood Medium was born. He had survived bullying, community rejection, the loss of his best friend, and brain surgery before he was old enough to legally drink. And the world had no idea. Hollywood Medium premiered, and the audience came for it immediately. Season 2 produced the moment that would define the show's legacy in ways nobody had anticipated. Corey Feldman sat down for a reading, arms crossed, skepticism visible in every inch of his posture. Tyler connected him with a presence who had died of a drug overdose. It was Corey Haim, Feldman's closest friend and co-star, who had died in 2010 after years of substance abuse rooted, many believed, in the sexual abuse he had suffered as a child actor in Hollywood. Tyler told Feldman that Haim was urging him to come forward, to name names, to stop protecting the people responsible. Feldman collapsed. He said he had been praying for exactly this clarity. But outside that room, Corey Haim's mother Judy was watching. She had buried her son. She said publicly that her son had specifically pulled away from Feldman in his final years and would never have wanted to contact him. She accused Feldman of invoking her dead son's name for relevance, and said she had asked him repeatedly to stop. A grieving mother watched her son become a storyline, and she was furious. Tyler said nothing publicly, but the weight of it landed and stayed. The skeptics were loud and getting louder. They accused him of cold reading, of having researchers feed him information through earpieces during live shows. When the Khloe Kardashian cheating scandal exploded after Tyler had given a reading that minimized concerns about her relationship, critics pointed to it as proof. Tyler did not fight back. He called himself a skeptic. But Dr. Drew Pinsky decided to test rather than debate. He hooked Tyler to a quantitative EEG while Tyler gave a live reading. What the machine showed was medically unexplainable. Tyler's brain waves shifted into deep sleep patterns while he was fully awake, speaking clearly, and actively engaged. Dr. Drew could not call it fraud. He could not call it proof either. He simply said something was happening that he did not understand and left it there. The readings kept coming. Every room full of grief left something behind in Tyler's body. He was absorbing loss at a pace that nobody stopped to measure. By 2019, Tyler was filling theaters on his first live tour, Life Lessons I've Learned from the Departed. He was 23 years old. He had never felt more sure of his purpose. Then it was early 2020 and he was lying backstage before a show, eyes closed, mentally preparing, when something hit him in the chest. He told himself it was nerves. He breathed through it. The pain did not pass. With every breath it sharpened. Not spreading and dull but precise and stabbing, like something tearing along a seam that was never meant to open. He tried to breathe deeper. It got worse. He tried to sit up. Worse again. He reached for a full breath and understood, with a terror that had no clean description, that he could not get there. A small blister on the surface of his lung had ruptured. Air was flooding the space between the lung and the chest wall, pressing